My family has been on this farm since 1932. We have a 100-cow dairy herd. They're milked twice a day. We also raise dairy beef. We grow corn, soybeans, alfalfa. We grow some clover, a number of grasses, and a lot of cover crops. So we started a cover crop operation in 2012. We harvested the first ones in 2013 with 10 acres, and it has considerably grown since there. Right now, quite a bit of our cover crops are actually harvested and fed to our dairy. The good ones are fed to the dairy cows themselves. The rest of them are fed to the heifers as a grower ration. And the goal this fall will be to have everything covered as far as have winter rye on everything. Winter rye is our product of choice, number one, because it's tough. In 2017, we actually seeded winter rye in December. We haven't found yet where we can kill it, and we really like what the roots do as far as once that's established, the way the roots get down into the ground and open it up and allow for the water infiltration. I've got a water infiltration ring. We use this on a number of our fields. If you take a bottle of water, take a piece of plastic and you stick it in here like so, pound this into the ground, put the plastic down, put your bottle of water in, and then you can go ahead and pull your plastic out and let that go and then time it. And what you'll find is most of our ground will run between a minute to a minute 15 seconds on how long it takes for the water to soak in. That'll tell you how long it takes for an inch of water to soak into an acre. Last year we had probably 90% of our beans were on cover crop, and the one field that wasn't was far and away our poorest field. We averaged 67 bushel beans across the board. We can take the rye off around the 10th of May. We can feed that to our cows, and we come back in and no-till the soybeans in, so we don't have an expense as far as other than planting. And those beans come up, the winter rye comes back. That acts as our first herbicide pass. The winter rye will suppress a lot of the weeds, and that seems to work really well for us, one pass. I think the cover crops are a wonderful thing. You get the water infiltration. You are going to reduce your soil erosion through wind erosion, which is, I think, a very underrated source of erosion. There's quite a bit of that if you look out in the spring. If you can open that soil up and let that water seep in instead of running off, you're going to notice a lot of difference in your washouts and your runoffs and so on. The big fear with planting corn into winter rye is the allopathy effect that the dead rye or the live rye will have on the corn. And there's a number of us down here who have done it, and we have found no allopathy to date. Matter of fact, we planted 100 acres into standing winter rye last year, and what we found was we thought the number one thing that we had to account for was nitrogen. We put nitrogen on with the planter. That corn came through. We chopped 70 some acres of it off, either chopped it or made it into snaplage. That yield checked out at 199, and we brought the cover crop that we harvested before we put the corn silage in, came back with a relative feed quality, I believe, of 197. So we were tickled pink with both of those. The corn silage we took off of that field, we had two varieties on there. The one was marginal, was 22 ton an acre. The other one was 31.5 or 31.6 ton. That one we were very happy with. That corn silage is chopped, put into silage bags, and it's actually, should we say, animal ready. Once that's fermented about 30 days, then it's ready to feed, and we just open one of those bags up. So we take that, milk per pound of dry matter on that field, or per ton of dry matter was 3,550 pounds, I believe. The good variety had 10.85 ton of dry matter. So you take that, and I thought we had a really nice crop. We threw the winter rye on there, the ton of dry matter we got off of that, and then all the advantages with what it does for soil health. We've noticed over the last 4 to 5 years since we've gone to the baleage and the cover crops, we're not doing nearly as much as far as surgeries on the cow. We don't see our vets at all hardly for that anymore. And then obviously the corn silage is just a real good healthy feed. They like that fermented feed, and it's got a lot of energy and a really good taste to it.
What we've seen Kevin do is he's cut his alfalfa acres back because he's adding more cover crops and finding out that he can support better milk production with properly ensiled rye than he can with straight alfalfa. It's a very good economic advantage to him. This particular field of corn was planted about the 2nd of June, and the bulk of it had cereal rye that was planted last fall, wet baled off from it this spring, and then we went in and no-tilled corn right into the cereal rye after it was harvested. It was a hybrid that normally guys like it for corn silage, a little more digestible. So it was only planted at about 29,000. It has looked good all year long. Looked very uniform. The emergence was great. Didn't see any insect pressure in it. There's two different hybrids in here. I noticed one of them on an as-cut basis is up around 31 ton to the acre, and the other one is in that 22, 23 ton to the acre. So one of them is a little more highly digestible than the other, but what we were comparing is only been in the ground for 126 days, and you took 8-9 ton of cereal rye off, but now we're taking 20 plus ton of corn silage off the same field. And so we're trying to get a good handle on what the economics of it is. And this corn silage is being cut off, and we're putting it in silage bags right now, and it'll be fed through the dairy herd through the winter. What we're trying to do is we're trying to understand really what cereal rye in a ration, corn silage behind it, what the dollars per acre that will generate, either in the value of forage or in the value of milk. And I think there's some nutritionists out there that are starting to look at this, and we're going to see them start to calculate some dollars in that, but it's going to be pretty substantial. It's going to be a very good return on your investment by doing it.
Economically, the cover crop thing is still some uncharted territory. We like what we see, like we've talked a little bit about the water infiltration, the soil health. We can reduce our herbicide cost, is what we've seen this first year. We're still establishing trends with all of it, but it certainly looks like it. We can reduce some herbicides, and what we like is we can take 2 crops off per acre instead of 1. The cover crop is really easy. It's easy to seed in the fall, and it's relatively cheap, and we can generally get up to 2 ton an acre, depending on the fall and the spring when we get it in, when we harvest it. We can get 2 ton an acre of extremely digestible feed. Probably almost as much energy as I can get off my corn silage with quite a bit more protein. So, and then I've also got a spot to put some manure down if I want to, or we can just no-till into it. So economically, it certainly looks like it's going to more than pay for itself. And in the times where agriculture is at right now, we're looking for everything we can get. It looks to us as the way that we're going to get a return on our investment is we've got to reduce inputs. And to do that, we can do that a couple of ways. We can reduce inputs with our equipment, making less passes, diesel fuel and time, and hopefully as we learn more about this, we're learning a lot about the fertilizers and the herbicides and the relationships. We're thinking from what we've seen with reducing our nitrogen into this corn that it's kind of slow release all year, and we can probably get by without a second pass of it. After we've sampled the tie lines we have, plus some of the neighbors, and the spots with cover crops, we are well below safe nitrate drinking levels. We're 4 to 6 parts per million. Where you go to some of these other fields with commercial fertilizer without the cover crops, you're seeing those numbers significantly higher. As far as with NRCS, we're working with EQIP program, and then we've worked with Minnesota Department of Ag and with the Soil and Water office in Rochester. And I think there's a large group of people out there, and if we can be brought together, whether it's through social media, through NRCS, through Soil and Water, we're all in this thing together. We're all trying to get better. We don't all need to make the same mistakes. If I make a mistake, I don't think everybody else needs to make the same one. I'll share it, you can share yours with us, and we can go from there.